Breaking the curse. Tom and Sarah sat in the shadows, watching the creature sleep. It was tied gently now, not cruelly. After Mrs. Willow sprinkled her powder, the beast had become weak, almost peaceful. It breathed heavily, a broken sound that made Sarah's heart ache. Tom shifted uncomfortably. "We can't just leave it like this," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Sarah nodded. "It's not a monster." In the soft light of Mrs. Willow's lantern, the creature looked more human than ever. Its thick hair was matted with dirt. Its arms, once strong, now trembled. Its face was full of sadness. Mrs. Willow knelt beside them. "The curse feeds on fear and hatred," she said quietly. "The more people feared him, the stronger the monster became. But inside, the man is still there, trapped." Tom clenched his fist. "We have to help him." Mrs. Willow's green eyes glinted. "You must show him kindness, heal him, and then only under the full moon at the Spring of Mirrors can the curse be broken." Sarah frowned. "But the spring is deep in the forest. No one goes there." Mrs. Willow smiled sadly. "That's why it must be you. Courage is not found in easy places." Over the next few days, Tom and Sarah secretly cared for the creature. They brought it food. Bread, apples, bits of roasted chicken. At first it growled low in its throat, suspicious, but soon it ate quietly, almost gratefully. Sarah cleaned its wounds with water and soft cloth. The creature flinched at her touch, but didn't strike. Its sharp claws looked terrifying, but they remained still. Sometimes it tried to speak. Garbled words, broken sounds. Tears often filled its strange, human-like eyes. Tom once thought he heard it say, "A help," but it was so soft he wasn't sure. They kept the creature hidden near the forest's edge. Only Mrs. Willow knew. If the villagers found out, they would come with pitchforks and fire. Each night, Tom and Sarah took turns watching over him. Fear still lived in their hearts, but so did something stronger: hope. Finally, the full moon rose. It hung heavy and golden over the forest, lighting the misty trees in a silver glow. Mrs. Willow met them at the edge of the woods, holding a small bag filled with herbs and charms. "Tonight is your only chance," she said. "Bring him to the spring. Speak no fear, show no anger, only kindness." Tom and Sarah untied the creature carefully. It was weaker now, barely able to stand. Tom held out his hand. "Come with us," he said gently. The creature sniffed the air. It hesitated, then slowly, painfully, it moved. The journey was hard. The forest seemed alive, trees whispering, shadows dancing. Strange sounds echoed in the dark. Several times, Tom thought he saw figures moving between the trees, tall, dark shapes with watching eyes. But he didn't stop. He tightened his grip on the rope, leading the creature forward. Sarah walked beside him, whispering soft songs under her breath to calm them all. The Spring of Mirrors was deeper than they remembered, hidden behind walls of thorny vines and ancient stones. When they arrived, the air felt thick, heavy with magic. The spring itself was still and clear, reflecting the moon perfectly, like a doorway to another world. The creature growled low, afraid. Tom stepped forward. "It's okay," he whispered. "Trust us." Mrs. Willow began chanting softly, tossing herbs into the water. The surface shimmered with golden ripples. "Bring him to the water," she instructed. Together, Tom and Sarah led the creature to the spring. The instant its feet touched the water, a low rumble shook the ground. The creature roared, not in anger but in pain. It collapsed to its knees, claws digging into the soft earth. Light burst from its body, harsh, blinding. Tom shielded his eyes. The creature's form twisted, shrank, cracked. Bones shifted, hair fell away. When the light faded, a man lay at the edge of the spring. An old man, thin and frail, with silver hair and kind, broken eyes. "Mr. Granger." The forest fell silent. Sarah gasped. "We did it!" Mr. Granger coughed weakly. He tried to speak, but his voice was rough. Tom knelt beside him. "It's okay, you're safe now." Mrs. Willow smiled. "The curse is broken." Tom helped Mr. Granger sit up. His hands trembled. His eyes filled with tears. I'm free," he whispered. Sarah wiped her eyes. "You're not alone anymore." Tom looked around. The forest seemed lighter now, less frightening, as if a heavy weight had been lifted. They would take Mr. Granger back to Riverbend. They would tell the villagers the truth. They would teach them that fear and hate had created the real monster and not him. Hope filled Tom's heart. Things were going to change. But just as they turned to leave, the spring behind them rippled again. The water darkened. A deep, rumbling growl echoed from beneath the surface. Sarah clutched Tom's arm. Something's wrong. Mrs. Willow's face paled. No, it can't be. From the center of the spring, a black hand, long, twisted, clawed, slowly rose from the water. And it was not human. Tom stepped back, heart pounding. They had broken one curse. But in doing so, they had awakened something far. The thing beneath the spring. The ground trembled under their feet. Tom, Sarah, Mrs. Willow, and the weak Mr. Granger stared at the spring in horror. The black hand, long, twisted, clawed, reached higher, dripping thick, dark water. The moonlight flickered as if the sky itself shivered. "We have to run," Sarah cried. "No," Mrs. Willow said firmly, pulling them back. "If we run now, it will chase us. We must not turn our backs on it." The black mist poured from the spring, crawling across the ground like a living thing. It coiled around the trees, the rocks, even their legs, icy and sharp. The thing in the spring growled, a deep, ancient sound full of rage and hunger. Mrs. Willow grabbed herbs from her bag and threw a handful into the mist. It hissed and pulled back for a second. "Move," she ordered. "Back to the village, but slowly, no fear." They moved together, hearts hammering, retreating step by step into the forest. The mist followed them, twisting, whispering. Behind them, the black figure was still rising, shaping itself into something even worse. By the time they stumbled into Riverbend, the sky was no longer clear. Dark clouds swirled above the village. The peaceful homes looked small and fragile under the angry sky. Villagers were waking up, stepping out of their houses, rubbing their eyes. "What's happening?" cried old Mr. Weller. "Is it another monster?" shouted the butcher's wife. "My cows are missing," someone wailed. Tom helped Mr. Granger to sit down on a bench. The old man's face was pale, his body trembling. Mrs. Willow raised her hands. "Listen to me," she shouted over the rising panic. "You must stay calm. Stay inside your homes. Light fires. Pray. Do not step into the mist." The villagers stared at her with wide eyes. Some obeyed and ran inside. Others simply stood frozen, staring at the dark sky. Sarah looked at Tom. "What do we do now?" she whispered. Tom shook his head. "We can't fight that thing with ropes and traps." "No," Mrs. Willow agreed grimly. "This is something much older, much worse." She turned to Mr. Granger. Tell them what lies beneath." Mr. Granger coughed, struggling to speak. "Long ago," he rasped, "Riverbend was built on cursed ground. An ancient evil, a spirit of hunger, was trapped beneath the Spring of Mirrors. The elders sealed it away with magic and blood." Tom swallowed hard. Blood? Magic? This wasn't the kind of adventure he had dreamed about. Mr. Granger continued, his voice shaking. "My curse was the first seal. I was tied to it unknowingly. When you broke my curse, the first seal shattered. Now, the real monster is free." Sarah's hands shook. "There were more seals." Mrs. Willow nodded. "Yes, but over the centuries the knowledge was forgotten. Only scraps remain in the old chapel ruins." Tom's heart sank. The old chapel was deep in the forest, past the spring, past the dark woods. And now the mist was spreading fast. "We have to find the book," Mrs. Willow said urgently. "The Book of Binding. It's our only chance." Tom squared his shoulders. He had come this far. He wasn't going to back down now. "I'll go," he said. "Me too," Sarah said immediately. Mrs. Willow smiled grimly. "Good. You are braver than many grown men I've known." They packed quickly. Lanterns, ropes, Mrs. Willow's herbs, and a few scraps of food. Time was running out. The mist had already swallowed the fields at the village edge. As they hurried toward the woods, the ground trembled again. A low hum filled the air, like the growl of something massive waking up. Tom glanced back. In the village square, where the fountain once stood, the black mist twisted and formed a shape. A monster. It wasn't like Mr. Granger had been, not part human. This thing was all wrong. It had no clear body, just shifting darkness, long claws, endless hungry mouths opening and closing in the mist. It was nightmare given form. The villagers screamed and ran. Fires flickered and went out. The creature began to move, not walking but spreading, flowing like a dark river toward the houses. Sarah grabbed Tom's hand. "We have to hurry!" Tom nodded, feeling a chill run down his spine. For the first time, he wasn't sure they could win, but they had to try. Together, they plunged into the forest, the dark trees closing around them. Above them, the moon struggled behind thick clouds. Ahead of them, the ruined chapel waited, and behind them, the thing that had once been sealed beneath the spring grew stronger by the second. Somewhere deep in the forest, a second rumble echoed, a sound that didn't come from the ground, but from something even deeper. Another awakening. Tom stumbled, caught himself. He dared not ask the question burning in his mind. Were there even worse things hidden in the darkness?